Caleb? Do you feel that odd sense of foreboding? Like, not the normal sense of foreboding, like in day-to-day life, but like a new sense of foreboding?
Are you talking about, is it kind of like in your back? Like you feel it in your back a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It is I, the Junk Witch! You have brought me here with your cursed energy, and now you must be punished.
I feel like...
For this one, you must release all of the cursed energy. No curses or sexual jokes.
What? No!
If you do, there must be a consequence. I have kidnapped your friend Fielding. Their soul will be mine. if you curse during this episode.
If we say a single curse word... Well, yeah, Cordell.
So let's do a quick sidebar here.
Yeah, you don't get to hear this, witch. You go away.
Okay. I'll go make some tea.
Okay.
So, Caleb, I mean, on a very real practical level, like, is it worth censoring ourselves for an hour to save a friend's soul, or could we just are we that worried about it?
Here's the thing. It's Fielding. That's what we gotta keep in mind. Is that it's Fielding. We can't let Fielding go. I think we have to.
Well, let me ask a follow-up question for the Junk Witch.
Okay, yeah.
I've been over your shoulder the whole time. I never
know.
Oh, you're so scary. Okay. Junk Witch, will Fielding die if we break the rules, or just lose their soul? Like, what's...
I will drag them down to hell with me.
Like body, like corporeal form?
All of it. Everything.
Okay, sidebar. Okay, goodbye.
Okay,
goodbye.
yeah,
So
yeah.
We can't let that happen.
Yeah, we really can't. I know it's going to be harder for me than it will be for you to censor
Well, I mean, you know what
yourself.
else will be? Wait, I can't.
Stop.
I can't.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
Okay.
No sexual jokes. No
I
sexual
heard that
jokes.
from over here.
And no,
Yeah, man, another one just came to mind.
Okay,
This is going to be really difficult.
all right. I think we can do it. It's only like an hour.
Yeah, okay. On this hour of Junk House.
It's a psychobilly freakout!
Welcome back to Junk House.
Oh, are you back, Samantha?
Yeah, I'm here. I've been here the whole time. I was just really quiet.
So you know that we can't swear or make sexual jokes this whole episode.
Yeah. Oh, fudge. Almost.
You know the problem with that is since the moment I was told I could not make sexual jokes, every response I have in my brain is explicitly sexual.
See, that was like one of our longer cold opens. And yeah, it wasn't even the longest cold open we've done. Because if you think back to episode 68, right? Think back to 68.
I always think about 68.
It was
it's a
like
good number.
30-minute long cold open. If we're being real.
Why did we wait that long?
So
well, it was like a game show, right? Is that the...
So we were doing. Am I even allowed to say that word? It was the Shark Tank parody that we did.
I think that is an okay word.
Wait. Let me look at it.
No, we'll
first.
just okay. Yeah,
It
we
was
did the
a
Shark Tank parody. So
then
Caleb made an
originally
intro.
we were gonna make that the whole thing, but then I decided it would be funny if that was just the cold open and we launched the theme song like 30 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
That was
It's like when you're watching like a network television show back in the day and there's a full like 10-minute scene and then the title card shows up and you're like, what?
Huh?
What?
Like this new season of Invincible. They've done that.
They have done that.
That's what I'm saying is that's how you know that episode's going to be a big deal. Because normally it's like a quick clip and then the title card. But when you start off with a full on like story beat, it's going to be a big episode.
Yeah, and this one starts off with a story beat of a witch. Oh no.
Yeah, I think it's funny that last episode we made references / named the whole episode Yossified Gruntilda, and now we have the Junk Witch.
Yeah, that was a self-fulfilling prophecy there.
Yeah. Have y'all heard these rumors going around? Legend of Zelda rumors. Do y'all want a little Legend of Zelda time?
Sure. I love Zelda.
Sure.
There is like no confirmable sources for this, right?
Okay.
But there have been at least 30 YouTube videos that I've seen and several tweets. So like it's spreading a bit and people are starting to comment and be like, heck yeah, that's going to be so fun. Of a full-scale Ocarina of Time remake.
Ooh, okay.
And I want that because I would love to see that with the Breath of the Wild engine approach, you know?
That would be crazy.
Now, is that idea like Ocarina of Time, but it's open world? Or is that idea Ocarina of Time, but just really, really pretty?
I think I personally would want to see Ocarina of Time, but really, really pretty. And maybe some slight updates to like maybe the story, not even like changing the story that much, but there are some beats of the story that like it would be cool if I didn't have to work that hard to get a horse.
Yeah. And if the combat would be revamped a little bit, so it's not as much like just waiting and then attacking. Then
if the combat was just Breath of the Wild combat with a sword that didn't break, game changing.
Oh
level.
My god, that would
game
be so
changer.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense because I think doing a remake where you are updating is really, really cool. Doing a remake where you are completely revamping the original game, and it's like, just make a new game at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just make another one. Like they did with Pokemon.
Exactly.
I think all of the remakes basically are like full revamps.
Well, the remakes in Pokemon are a little more like They revamp and they update graphics and they'll usually add a mechanic or two, but the region stays mostly the same. You know, you have closer to the like Heart Gold Soul Silver side, and then you have the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl side where it's just a chibi remake. Like it's like nothing's different here.
Which they did that one a little weird because it was like the third party people that made it. So it's a little frustrating, but it makes more sense why it was just a chibi stuff.
I never got very far into it because I didn't love
the best remakes are like Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby.
Yes,
where they like really revamp the whole thing and do a whole epilogue after.
Adding a post game is excellent.
Yes.
My first Pokemon game, and I still think my favorite to this day, is Leaf Green.
Okay. That's honestly very fair.
That was my first one I ever played, and still love it. Me and my brother were talking about it this past weekend. About how much we love that.
The first one I really played was Fire Red, so I am in that same boat.
Yeah.
But
good old Game Boy Advance.
The one I had the most. Yeah, you want to come on?
Yeah, let me in there.
What was your first Pokemon game?
Oh, like legit first Pokemon game I played?
Yeah.
Yeah, Red.
Straight up Red.
Wow, straight Red.
Like my brother, he was born in 94, and so he was playing Pokemon games his whole life, and I was born like 4 years later, so I grew up playing the original Game Boy Color. Like I played Red, Blue, and Yellow on a like Game Boy Color and then on our Game Boy Advance. Like I've been playing since the beginning of my life. Before I could read, he would read it for me, and I'd tell him what I wanted to do.
Y'all ever have those moments where you think back to stuff you sold?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to video games that you were like, Yeah, I'm just going to trade in my Wii to get the trade-in value to go towards the Wii U. Or I'm going to trade in the Wii U to go towards the Switch. And then you're like, wait, I had all those games and I just traded those in for like $1 a piece, if that.
Yeah. Well, on the flip side of it, the other day, Emily was like, hey, why don't we just donate this VHS player I have? Like this VCR. And I said, no, don't you dare. She was like, why? I was like, you have the remote, the VCR, and the original cords. It is a combo VCR DVD player. And we still have some VHS tapes for it. Like, what you have is incredibly worthwhile. Like, she looked it up and I think she found a version of it selling for like $900 somewhere. And I'm like, we're going to hold this and keep it good for another 15 years before we touch it.
That's me I have a Pikachu Nintendo 64 that came with the Hey You Pikachu.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Still have it in the controller.
I have records that are also kind of expensive.
Brag.
I used to have records. My thing is not with video games. Mine is with when I lived in Colorado and had my movie collection and comic book collection. And when I moved back to Arkansas, instead of just keeping them, I donated all of them to like the public library. So like I had the colored version of Scott Pilgrim, the normal, like they have the hero covers and the villain covers. So I had like,
you can't just say
gosh. Yeah. See that, but I will say, donating to a public library,
very different.
Very admirable.
I can probably go see them still in the public library. Yeah, visit my children when they went off to college.
Yeah.
But talking about movies.
Were we? We were actually, yeah. Good transition. I approve.
This time, we're going to read reviews and they're really bad, so guess the movie.
Heck yeah.
Wow.
Frick yes. Okay, well, this half-star review, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I have 3 bad reviews and 1 good review. The good review I will read after you figure out the movie. Also, if y'all remember that we've done this movie before and I just spaced, tell me that because brain no worky. But here's the first one from I Heart Cats with a Z 1. I've never seen this, but my girlfriend calls me Giant Head sometimes for some reason. And so like this is a spite review. That's the God guess.
Meet the Robinsons.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
Jimmy Neutron?
Okay. Both good, but incorrect.
Okay.
Here's the second review from, oh no, I can't even say. It's blank Eastwood, but without the N for the first word. So I can't say.
Wait. I don't think anatomical words should be sexualized in this manner.
But that seems like just a bad word.
That seems like a sex
That's a
joke.
slang word.
That's a joke. It turns into a joke.
Wait, like CLIT?
Yeah.
I feel like
it makes it into a joke to make it into a name.
Okay,
it's kind of a
it's the fact that it's a humorous thing, not a simple.
Yeah.
But here's their review. I understand now.
Here's his review. Their review, excuse me. His head is like a mirror and is flipping the camera back on the capitalists of today's world. This character is literally just representative of the human ego. They've got big heads.
What?
Do I need to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I do have one more, and that other one is longer. But his head is like a mirror, and it's flipping the camera back on the capitalists of today's world. This character is literally just representative of the human ego. They've got big heads.
Is it Megamind?
It's Megamind.
Oh, man.
Yo!
I'm going to read the longer review, though, because it's funny. Okay.
Wow, I got there in 2.
In 2.
Dang.
I'm so proud.
I don't know why I was thinking big fat liar, but blue. So
Well, I thought
Same.
Coneheads.
Yeah, you got to be thinking about the big heads. There's a lot of big heads.
I hate Coneheads. So.
What a terrible concept. Terrible movie.
Here's the longer one from Hugo Palian. I never saw this movie, but frick you. Because I as a child with a receding hairline have been tortured because some rich who work for Disney thought it would be funny to create a character that will be used by children as a reflection of my being, resulting in me depersonalizing and entering drug addiction that led me to be fired and begging on the streets. It's taken me a week to gather 5 pounds, which is just enough for me to go to the only internet cafe in my town. And instead of spending my time on locating my wife and children who have left me because of my drug abuse, I am writing this review because frick you, you've ruined my life.
That's a hilarious meme post.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's the
Like,
thing.
One, very, very funny. Like, good joke, good copy pasta sort of thing. However, if that happens to be a real person, I
so
don't
depressing.
think... So depressing, but also kind of... Am I allowed to say piss?
Sure.
Can I say piss?
How does Caleb feel about piss?
I think piss is fine.
You think it's fine? It kind of pisses me off. Like, I've the nonsense of, people made jokes about me. People bullied me, right? That sucks. Yeah. That's legitimately bad. But to then turn around and blame literally every other part of your life on the bullies and or the people who made the film Megamind. Sorry you had a hard life. Who wasn't bullied?
It seems like you said, though, this does seem like a meme, especially because they liked the top comment, which was Megamind looking A-word, do more drugs. They're good for you. They might fix your hairline.
Incredible.
But then the best one, the good review. Megamind is greater than The Godfather. Delete your account if you don't agree.
Dang.
I guess I gotta delete my account.
I've never seen The Godfather, but I have seen Megamind. So I'm not deleting anything.
Megamind is great.
I have a new game.
Like, pre-planned?
This is kind of pre-planned. This is a fun game for Cordell.
Oh yeah.
That it's just for fun. I've played this with Cordell before off recording, but I've simplified it because originally, listeners, Cordell and I both share a love of a game called Magic the Gathering, and Sammy also loves this game. We all love this game.
Everybody loves this game.
Originally, the game was Cordell guesses a card, which was extremely hard because then it was just any card in Magic history. So instead, I have a new game I would like to pitch and play today.
Okay.
Which is Cordell guesses the commander.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So what
really quick for listeners at home, a commander is a legendary creature in Magic the Gathering that can be used to build a deck around and a certain way to play the game called Commander. So I'm going to be guessing legendary creatures based on the hints given.
Yes, and this one, I've actually gone a little bit further than I probably would have done. And I'm trying to get it pulled up.
I'm going to give you a warning right now. if the commander is from any of the universes beyond things, there's a strong chance I will not get this.
I'll tell you that it's not.
Okay.
Because what I've done, and I think this is what makes it where Sammy would also probably like this too, is I have brought up the EDH rec page for this commander. And Cordell, you can ask, I'm going to give you the mana cost and the power and toughness. Other than that, you can ask for what are the high synergy cards and like what are some key cards that you would put in this deck.
Okay, I like that. So I can get a hint of what you'd build with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So this card, 3 generic mana, a red and a green. It is a 5/5. I will also tell you that it is currently 49 cents.
I'm going to take a god guess and call it Phylath.
It's not Phylath.
Okay, well, that was the god guess. That's not my real one.
That was the god guess, and you sucked shit at it. I don't know what to tell you.
Caleb!
Oh,
Rest in peace, Field. No.
You two morons can't keep it together to save our friend's eternal soul.
Everybody gets one, apparently.
Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one. That was a god guess, and you sucked at it.
There we go.
All right. The highest energy card is Rurkthar the Unbowed.
Am I allowed to look up the high synergy cards to read them if I need to refamiliarize myself?
I'll send them. I'll send them for you.
Yeah. And then I'll talk verbally through my process after I read Rurik.
The second high synergy card, which I feel like will actually help a lot, is Magus of the Candelabra.
Okay. This is the 5/5 for 5 is the commander. Caring about lands and creature spells.
And it's a 5/5?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
3 green red.
Yeah, the 2 cards I've sent as the highest synergy cards for people listening at home is Rurkthar the Unbowed, which is 4 red green for a 6/6 with vigilance and reach. That says Rurkthar the Unbowed attacks each combat if able, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Rurkthar deals 6 damage to that player. The second one is Magus of the Candelabra, which is 1 green for a 1/2 that has X and untap X target lands.
Nikia, Disciple of the Old Ways.
You fucking got it. You got it so fast. You said
the F word again.
It's okay. Well, I'm sorry. This is hard for me. Anyway.
Killing Fielding.
Anyway, that was...
Okay, I got it though. Yep.
You got it. You got it real fast. That was Cordell Guess as a commander. I'm probably going to continue to refine this segment as we go. But...
maybe do it for the Magic the Gathering podcast.
Yeah, we need one. That's the issue.
That's the issue. Because I was just kind of sitting here just like...
that's really the issue.
The entire time?
Yeah, there are a lot of podcasts that we could do. But how do we do them is the issue.
Well, we simply become independently wealthy and not need to work in our day-to-day lives, and then each of us takes over the editing duties for an individual podcast.
Ooh, that means I'd have to learn how to edit.
I already learned back in the day for Just Super. So
Just Super, another podcast where we couldn't swear, and it got very hard, and eventually we had a swear sound for all the times that
Stanley going Excelsior.
Yeah.
Great show.
Can't believe Thor just killed that show so hard.
Yeah, we were like, we're gonna watch through the MCU, and we got to Thor, and neither of us could care enough to continue.
Isn't even that far. It's
not.
No,
that's
that
the
far.
third movie.
Yeah.
We got 3 movies in and quit an entire podcast.
Speaking of the MCU.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a potentially controversial thing.
Okay.
So the review for the new movie The Marvels has come out.
Yeah, I've heard this.
And here is my controversial stance. A lot of people are complaining that the movie seems like it was made for teenage girls and not for Marvel fans. Here's the thing. It probably was made for teenage girls, and Marvel fans need to get out of their own butt and learn that not everything has to be for them just because it is a Marvel movie.
What if I have told you I haven't heard that part of it? I've just heard that the movie's bad.
I see I've heard some people say the movie is bad, but then when asked why it was bad, they go on to say like, well, it felt like it was made for teenage girls, not for like actual fans. And like, it's just.
I will say a lot of people associate not for me with not good, which is a whole conversation we've had before. Here's what I'll say. I have kind of the Marvel movies and shows have entered into the Star Wars realm for me, where I really love the parts that I loved. And if I'm interested enough, I will consume the new things coming out. But I have given up having an emotional stake in what happens with this. What is it called when it's like the product, but it's like the brand, the property. I have no emotional stake in the property anymore, which is really due to the Disneyfication. You know, it's like keep cranking money out of it until there's no joy. But it's like,
yeah,
The Marvels is actually one of the more interesting movies they've put out to me recently. And I'm going to watch it on Disney Plus eventually, but I love the concept. Like, hi, 3 superheroes who anytime any of them use their powers, they swap locations. That's like, really sick. Neat.
That's fun. Yeah.
That is a really, really clever concept. I'll need to watch it to see if they pull it off well.
That's the thing.
Yeah. It's like they don't do
things about them pulling it off super well.
It's just too bloated at this point. I think part of the magic of the MCU was that it felt realistic enough and it felt possible enough and it felt close enough to our world. And the more comic booky it has become, the less like it feels like it matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree.
Like, I'd even agree that Infinity War and Endgame, I love them, but like, they don't feel the same way that the first couple phases felt. They're really good, and I think they're a great way to end it, and they're the perfect amount of comic booky, but they don't feel the same anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I think that's just kind of what I was reading about the Marvels, and like, even I looked at some Letterboxd reviews, it was just like, they pale in comparison to the other Marvel movies. And like, at least with the one review, I was like, the CGI is awful. But I'm probably not going to watch it, but that's, if people like it and watch it, that's fine.
I've pulled up a review that is the highest rated 1-star review on Google reviews specifically. Okay. And so this is kind of what I've seen a lot of people use as a sentiment, especially on Twitter, because I refuse to call it X.
Yeah.
And I'll just read it. I'm not going to say this person's name because I don't want to give them any more attention than they're already getting, but I'll read their review. To all you critics, experts, and executives still blaming superhero fatigue for the decadence. What? That's not the word you want to use. For the decadence of the genre, I say this. The notion of superhero fatigue is unfounded. If such fatigue was genuine, we would have witnessed its emergence within the realm of superhero fandoms long ago. Some individuals, seemingly out of touch and living in an echo chamber, fail to grasp the true source of any supported fatigue or simply don't want to accept its obvious source. It's not an aversion to the superhero genre itself, but rather a reaction to specific elements within the film industry. Forced diversity, inclusion, equity, historical revisionism, plot armor, Mary Sue characters taking over everything, and subpar narratives crafted by talentless and ideologically possessed writers shielded by some union. It's crucial to clarify that superhero fatigue is not tangible, observable, or quantifiable. Lacking substantive evidence to support its existence, fans continue to harbor a deep affection for superheroes and eagerly anticipate content featuring them. The crux of the matter lies in the longing for high-quality, apolitical, unapologetic, and inspiring movies, comic books, and games.
3 things. One, first thing. I really thought for the first half of that, before the turn, that it was going to be legitimate criticism. There are so many legitimate reasons to criticize, like soulless filmmaking, writing by committee, solely going based off what will sell. Like, there are so many legitimate complaints to levy against the superhero fatigue. Because you look at Invincible, you look at Across the Spider-Verse, you look at The Boys. People want superheroes, but they want them to have a heart and a soul. So that's clearly not the argument. I love that they turn left and they're like, it's the liberals. Second
it's always
thing,
the liberals' fault.
It's always the liberals. Second thing, if anyone ever says they want apolitical content, that means they want content that agrees with their politics.
Yeah.
Nothing is apolitical. Everything you ever watch has a contextual and therefore like cultural and political underpinning, whether it's the forefront or not. Like, having a gay person in the movie doesn't mean there's an agenda. It simply means that there's a character that's gay. You know, that like if that's a political statement to you, then maybe you're homophobic. And then last, this person read one article about the scientific method and threw every word they found in that last sentence. There is no substantive claim to demonstrate blah 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 blah.
Hey, the only review I'm seeing on Letterboxd that matters is from Bobby the Spaceman that says they hit the second tower. So
yeah,
they did.
They did hit the second tower. That's what, like, I'm now looking on Letterboxd, and the majority of the reviews I see are people like in the 3 to 3.5 star range that are saying like, I really don't get why people actually hate this movie. Like, it's fine. The CGI is not the greatest, but it's a fine movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I was looking through a list of movies that came out in 2023 whenever we were talking about this. And when you look, there is a sharp contrast throughout. And you can just look in the past few years anyway. But you know, you look at Quantumania or Peter Pan and Wendy or Good Burger 2. Wish. You look at Indiana Jones 5, Transformers Rise of the Beast, Shazam Fury of the Gods. You know, like, you look at these movies and what do they have in common? They're kind of soulless. They are just putting out a product because people like that brand. Yeah. And look at movies from 2023 that people really enjoyed. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, John Wick 4, you know, Cocaine Bear, Oppenheimer.
Have y'all seen The Killer
Barbie.
yet?
I have not seen The Killer yet. No, that's Michael Fassbender, right?
Yeah. Do you know anything about it?
A little bit. I kind of want to go in blind when I watch it.
Okay.
But I can mute if you want to tell Caleb.
Well, you don't want to know literally even what it's inspired off of a little bit?
I mean, go ahead there. I know it's good, so I want to know very little.
It's incredible. It's basically, from watching it, it's an incredible movie. It's the closest movie to a Hitman, like the video game Agent 47 Hitman movie. It's not based off of that specifically. It's based off of a comic book, but they use the same text as in Hitman. It starts out in Paris, which is the beginning for Hitman. Like, it is very much a Hitman movie, and it is so fucking good. Freaking good. I fixed it in post. The funny thing is, this isn't hard for Cordell at all, because Cordell barely ever curses, and Caleb and I curse all the time, so it's actually hard for us, and Cordell's like disappointed that it's hard for us.
Like, quite honestly, if we're buying into the fiction here, you have killed our friend
yes,
like 6 times.
As an accident, because we're so used to cursing.
This is the thing. The Junkhouse Witch does not listen to us actually record.
Yeah. She listens
They listen to the published episode.
Yeah. So we have to even cut this part out. No.
Yeah.
No, I think she can hear the meta commentary on it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But this is it is like to like talk about it about the challenge of this episode and get a little bit meta on it. It is genuinely hard to like it like, I think this episode kind of like speaks to if you do something a lot, it is legitimately hard to refrain from doing it, you know, especially when it is something that is, to be brutally honest, innocuous, like swearing. Like, does swearing actually hurt anybody?
Very
in
rarely.
This case, Fielding, but
literally Fielding,
literally Fielding in this case, but. Other than that, it really doesn't impact anyone else, you know?
Just one person's eternal soul. And what does that matter?
What does that matter to you saying whatever you want?
What is the weight of a soul? Like 7 grams or something like that? I don't know.
And how much is free speech worth, you know?
1,000 grams, I bet.
At least.
No, it's...
I think it also speaks to a post-religious view of censoring yourself versus a still in religious circles review, you know?
Yes.
Like, of the people in this podcast?
Yeah.
So here's what I will say. I do think it's hilarious that this is boiled down to stop cussing or your friend is in hell forever. A lot of people, have that life.
Yeah, I believe that.
I don't know, to give it because I did grow up with the like, hey, cussing is wrong. Do not cuss. It's a sin, right? Like,
same.
Have good language. Do not use swear words because you must have clean, proper speaking, whatever. Me personally now, I care more, and I think, like, if you're looking at the Bible and what Jesus wants, I think there is more of a passion for, are you harming or showing love? Like, if the things you do are loving by nature, then that is what matters. It's like words are tools, you know?
Yeah.
If an F-bomb gets your point across, there is quite literally nothing wrong with using it. If you're using it to tear someone down, that's different. But any word used to tear someone down or spread hate, I think is a sinful way to be. You know, like, and I don't even really
call
like
somebody a poopy head.
Yeah, like if you are being hateful, I think there is the problem. So it's like, whatever language, who cares? Now, is there a time and place, and is it good to pull back at times? And my problem with language is more on the front of people not knowing how to monitor or adjust how they speak. Like, I don't care if you cuss, but if you can't change the way you talk to match the situation, then it owns you rather than you owning it. That's not a tool. You just don't know how else to be.
Exactly. It's like if I'm just cursing, if I'm just saying the F-bomb casually while I'm working at my cashier job, that's not okay.
Yeah. It's a case of like code switching and like, are you able to do that? Which is like an important tool. And like, I don't even think we need to like there's some 2015 study that says that swearing makes you smarter. I think that is absolutely crap. That's nothing. Like,
No.
I don't think people who swear more are more intelligent. But like that same study was like over swearing, and some of the things that they did say that I actually think are true is the stuff where it's like, people who swear more tend to be more honest.
Yeah.
I think there is like some truth to that.
Yeah.
Because like swearing can help express like those powerful emotions.
Yeah.
And get them across because for some reason they're still taboo words, even though most of them really don't mean anything.
Yeah. And I mean, there's different documentaries and things you can watch or resources you can read about like the nature of swears and how they evolve and like things that were once swears are no longer. And if you look like a lot of countries around the world that are English speaking are so far post being concerned about swears that it's like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. And here, like, America's moving in that direction as well. I think, again, I care, like, you can swear all you want. I might get a little annoyed because, like, have better word choice sometimes.
Yeah, you're cursing every sentence.
Yeah, if it's every other word you say, you just aren't thinking about what you're saying. That's what bothers me more. But beyond that, like, slurs, no, I don't tolerate those at all. Because that's different. Like, one is a word that people feel is taboo because it talks about a strong concept or a lewd concept or a dirty concept, whatever. But it's like, slurs, that's just legit hate. That word exists solely to cause pain. That's bad.
Yeah.
And yet I know a lot of good upstanding Christians that would never cuss but do throw around slurs.
Bro.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, and like I don't know. When it comes to like how hurtful a word can be, like something Sammy touched on earlier, which I think is 100% right, is any word can be hurtful given the right context.
Yep.
Like even my full legal name is just my full legal name. But when somebody says it with the right tone, I instantly know, oh, something bad happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like saying the full name by your mother. Uh-oh,
saying
I'm in
the
trouble.
full name, yeah. Uh-oh. Something bad's about to happen. Yeah, so like it's wild. It's really like, wild.
It's just there is a context for everything, right? People call me my name every day of my life. But my wife rarely calls me my name, it's babe, hun, love, darling, whatever. So when she says, hey, Cordell, I'm like, yes, like I'm going to listen more because the context is different. And so it's the same, like I talk about this with clients at work because they're generally not supposed to swear or make sexual jokes. But part of that is like these guys are in recovery and are trying to learn how to control their behaviors and actions in general. And I do hold the viewpoint that if you can censor yourself effectively from swearing or making sexual comments in the right contexts, then you are in a pretty good spot operationally as a person. I don't think there's anything like, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, guys, all of my friends are just as foul-mouthed as y'all in the right context. Like I make just as many dirty jokes in the right context, And I think it's just that. It's if you are a well-rounded, functional person using words as tools in thoughtful ways, I do not quite care what you say. But if it's clear you're not thinking, I care then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. But exactly what you were saying, Cordell. Like and especially I think it is harder for me to censor myself in this context.
Yes.
Because we've done 75 episodes of like, hey, this is the like we
this
know
is our
what
home.
Like
this is our home. If we're
and even like
we're comfortable.
I was explaining it to Olivia once because she was like, when do you know you've crossed a line on Junk House? Because it seems like there is not a line.
Oh, there is. We find it there's pretty often, actually.
Yeah. And so like, and that's what I said is I was like, we like our chemistry, the three of us have such a tight bond and chemistry comedically that we don't really have to discuss what is across the line for the three of us because we know ahead of time and we know when it is and is not appropriate to approach or cross it, you know?
Yeah. And I think too, like thinking back to our episode where we made nonstop 9/11 jokes, the entire episode. To a lot of people, that would be crossing a line. But for me, the difference is we were joking conceptually about an event that has become a joke.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were not mocking any real people. We were not taking genuine shots. We were not actually relishing death.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like there's a difference between making wild sexual jokes and talking about something harmful. Like it is so very clear that there is no personal focus to any of it that I think it stays good. Like, I think,
And especially with the 9/11 stuff, it's kind of, in my mind, it's kind of similar to the Jeffrey Epstein jokes that were made. Because it was like, hey, we're keeping this accountable. We're keeping America accountable a little bit for their part of that tragedy. Like it's this generation, our generation is so like that. Instead of being like, we're just going to be sad about this. It's like, no, it was messed up from a lot of different points. And we're going to make fun of it because of why it was messed up. And a lot of our generation doesn't have the memories. So it's like,
like I was 3 years old.
Yeah. Like I think, I think I was like 6. No, I was 5 at that point, but I was like not conscious.
Yeah. And by that same token, if someone had come in on that episode and was 40 years old, I don't think we'd be making 9/11 jokes.
No.
Like there's a clear time and place.
Yeah. That's what like I think we even like all three of us, we approach different episodes differently when the guests do join.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, our friend who, you know, currently has the risk of hell over their head, you know, fielding, I know
under their head.
Technically, but what's, you know, that makes sense.
Where is hell?
It's all around us. Okay, sorry,
hell
Caleb,
isn't real. Anyway,
hell is what you make of it.
Hell is other people.
When I go back and listen to episode 68, we leaned way harder into certain types of jokes because that's more the fielding approach, is to go harder on something, and especially the Nathan Fielder style, like awkward comedy, you know, is a lot.
That's
Fielding's
more.
Humor. That's Fielding's humor, and so we lean into that the same way we lean into different types of comedy with different people.
Yeah, or like with Olivia, we toned down a lot of our normal raunchiness until she got more comfortable and was willing to step in there too. Like, I think I don't think there are anything in this life that is off limits to talk about. Like, I don't think there's anything you can never talk about. Mm-hmm. But I think the more you grow, the more you develop this kind of instinctive sense of when it is okay and not okay to say and talk about things.
Yeah.
You know, you learn person to person, what kind of jokes can I make with you? How do I talk to you? How do I relate to you? Mm-hmm. I may not cross the line with the things I say to y'all, but I wouldn't say most of the stuff I say here anywhere else in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Ooh. Well, that was even like, you know, Olivia and I were talking once about how when something is going wrong within, or not going wrong, but there's a disagreement or an argument between people that are like married and stuff, there's only certain people I would talk to about marital issues,
Yeah.
I would not just talk about that with everyone. And I, for fuck's sake, would not talk about it on this podcast.
That's the eighth hell for Fielding.
Eighth hell for Fielding. But I would not talk about it on this podcast if I was having marital issues.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is not the place for that. I may talk about it.
House.
Yeah. This is the junk house.
This is not the marital issue house.
Things don't
keep it outside.
Keep that with the Keebler elves, okay? That's where that belongs.
Yeah, you don't go to the Keebler elf treehouse to do things we will not talk about in this episode.
No.
If things are okay at home.
There is a marriage counselor with the Keebler elves.
Yeah.
So
But no, I really do enjoy you two as friends. We got weirdly sincere in the absence of sexual jokes.
That's fine with me.
I appreciate that I get to be a different part of me with you two more than I do anywhere else, right? Like I love being this aspect of myself.
Yeah.
And it's not an aspect that gets to come out very often because it is probably distasteful to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, especially where you reside.
Exactly.
That brings up an interesting question for everybody. And I feel like Cordell may be the first person to talk about this. Do you think since starting Junk House that the you that is on this show is substantially different from you outside of this show? And if so, what are the differences?
I think I have a disease where my online personality is basically exactly the same to my offline personality. I think there might be very slight changes. Like obviously on here, I'm talking more and trying to present more, but I feel like personality wise, I'm mostly the same. I don't know if y'all would feel that way about me though, but internally that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
And that might not always be the best, but that's just how I do it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I think I'm substantially different in the junk house than outside of the junk house. And I think part of that is due to where I live and work and where I am in life at this moment. But I also think it's like I enjoy this sort of thing, but I enjoy it contextually. Like me on my own, I'm not necessarily this type of person most of the time. I still think this is a very real part of me, but like it is a part of me that I keep a pretty tight leash on, and I let I make sexual jokes and I make wild jokes and I do silly things, but I really let loose here because I know it's a safe context for that.
Yeah.
And I generally in my daily life like to be pretty relaxed and chill. So I think I think I am substantially different just because this is an outlet rather than like just more of the same old Cordy.
Gotcha. Yeah. I guess I would agree with that too. I feel like I'm way more introverted when I'm not.
Oh, I'm way more introverted. Yeah.
So that I guess that is a substantial difference.
But the way I talk and act and joke here is very different from like me day to day. So
yeah, that's fair. I talk this way all the time.
I think I'm like dead in between those two.
What a shock. Yeah.
Right. Definitely outside of Junk House, way more introverted. And also, to be real with the audience, I talk more on Junk House, like in this 1 hour, than I probably do the rest of the week combined. you know? Like, I'm generally a pretty quiet
Caleb's
person.
not a ton of a talker when going about daily
No.
activities.
No. And I also don't talk to friends very often, to be real.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. I keep to myself and am very just I keep to
Insular.
myself and very insular, very insulin. I'm also diabetic outside of Junk House, so that's a
Oh.
In
that's
the
a
junk
real,
house,
that's
your
a real
diabetes
shock.
is
Thank the
cured.
Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real shock for some people. They're
What?
like, "Why do you even leave the Junk House if your diabetes is cured inside of it?" And I say, "Because my wife."
Yeah.
She can only come once a year to the junk house.
Oh man. I almost made a sex joke. I almost sent our friend Fielding to eternal damnation.
Oh man, well, there's only one person and one group that can save anyone
Any one
from
of us?
eternal damnation. Any one of us.
The way, the
And
truth, the life.
You know what I'm gonna say? They're doing it right now with Fielding. Because the Reverend Horton Heat's going to get Fielding
They're
from all
smoking
our
one
mistakes.
if they got him.
Yeah.
Because they smoke one if they got him, because they love this show and they let us use their hit song "Psychobilly Freak Out" by the Reverend Horton Heat off the album "Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em." That's our opening and closing song, and they're on their way to save Fielding
Because
now.
2/3 of this podcast have definitely deeply, deeply let Fielding down.
Only once or twice.
I think it was 8, maybe 9 times.
I think you miscounted.
Maybe.
But if you liked this episode, you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Give us them 5 stars if you would. If you want to hear more from us, you can check out Twitter and TikTok at JunkHousePod on both of those.
Yeah. If you would like to email us and tell us what kind of cringe topics to cover when we're back to our cringy, raunchy, sweary selves, then you can do that at junkhousemmailbox@gmail.com. Send us an email. Get weird about it. We'll get weird right back.
Did someone say weird? I'm back.
Oh man, I was hoping we wouldn't have to deal with her again.
Well, I'm a kind soul. I know I don't seem like it, but that sincerity at the end really touched my heart. It really deeply touched me, so even though you slipped up, I shall be gracious this once. I have already released Fielding's soul back into their body.
That's
I
wonderful.
appreciate.
Yay!
I know I'm terrifying to look at, and my hair's all over the place, and I'm tall and gross, but maybe we can be friends.
Yeah. So is our challenge over? Is our punishment over?
Yes.
How deeply did we touch you? Oh, how deeply was
did we
it?
touch
How
you?
deep in there did we touch
tell
you?
Us more.
Tell us,
tell
please.
us more about that sexy
please,
wild hair.
Oh, I need
All right,
to
I take
hear
it back. I'm taking Fielding now. Bye.
Oh no!
It's a psychobilly freak out!